win like this after the week that you guys have had and the week that kind of Mike Tomlin has had too?
Means maybe you guys will shut the hell up for a week.
Yeah, that's a fair statement by Rogers there. Not gonna lie, I like it. I like the energy. But I do this for a living, so I gotta get up on this mic and talk about something. It's the only way I could afford this luxurious lifestyle and these polo shirts. So let's talk about the Steelers game yesterday and this Steelers team. Can it all be true? Can it all be true? Where yesterday was a good win, something to be said for that. On the road, classic Steelers-Ravens game came down to the wire. Now we're back on top of the AFC North. Ravens, even though they're kind of having a down year, they're showing inconsistencies as well. Beating the Ravens at any point is a good win. They still have Lamar Jackson, who's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. And we contained him for a good portion of the game until the second half hit. But, maybe I didn't give enough credit to this Steelers team and the defense in particular for overcoming some of the injuries that they faced, not only going into the game, but also throughout the duration of the game. Going in, we knew we weren't going to have starting safety Kyle Duggar. Derek Harmon's out with an injury, probably our top defensive lineman right now, top interior defensive lineman right now. We see the effect it has with him not being out there in our run defense. It's basically like 100 yards per game. It's insane. I didn't think he was that good, but maybe he is, man. Like, honestly, maybe he is. And then we experienced injuries throughout the course of the game as well with Malik Harrison, Patrick Queen going in and out. And I think I'm forgetting another player, but Brandon Echols, didn't he get hurt? I can't remember off the top of my head. But we had like 2 or 3 different big-time injuries on defense, and guys had to fill in. And maybe that explains why the defense was a little bit worse in the second half compared to the first half. But ultimately, we got the win. We got the job done. The defense did close things out. So all that's true. Like, give credit where credit's due, but can we also say that inconsistency is still lingering with this team? There was a nice step in the right direction with the offense. I like the mix-up in the formations, getting Thielen out there, MVS, DK Metcalf was getting a lot of targets, and shout out to him for the gutsy performance. Not only him, but Patrick Queen, Highsmith playing through injuries, but DK Metcalf reportedly had to go to the hospital after the game and checked for his stomach. His stomach was feeling weird, having pain in his stomach. And I guess all is well because he flew back to Pittsburgh today or late yesterday or something like that. But yeah, like even with the offense taking the step in the right direction, we folded a little bit in that fourth quarter and got too conservative. So like there's some positive, there's some silver linings, but the inconsistency is still there. And that's something we've been talking about with this 2025 Steelers team. We've been talking about with these Steeler teams post Big Ben. So, like, all we can hope for is we start to get consistent down this stretch. And it is the NFL. Who knows? But, like, I don't think there's any grand takeaways from this game. Like, there's nothing new. There's nothing that I really feel like we could hang our hat on and hold on to that we can feel like this team is going to be able to duplicate going forward, which may be all right. I mean, there are some other things you could talk about. The fact that we were experiencing injuries, a decent amount of injuries on the defensive front. And, like, we should be getting Harmon back at some point before the regular season ends, right? And we should be getting Duggar back. So if our defense did that, took a step in the right direction against the Ravens offense with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, then who's to say we can't continue to improve once we get healthier as the season goes on? I think it can all be true. Is that fair? Big win. Love the win. But this team's, I don't know if they've earned the benefit of the doubt for us to say, oh, we're completely back, nothing to worry about, we're one of the top teams in the AFC. And again, is there anything wrong with that? With the path to the playoffs being fairly easy for the Steelers compared to other years. We're 7-6 on top of the AFC North, and we got a decent lead on the Ravens now. Bengals just lost yesterday, and Ravens have a tough schedule for the last 4 games. Like, that tiebreaker is a big deal for us to beat the Ravens, have the Dolphins and Browns coming up, Lions, and then the Ravens again. Like, we have the path right in front of us. But we know what happens whenever the Steelers have a good lead or there's a good feeling about the squad that everything's in front of them. Look, the path is fairly easy coming up. There's letdown games left and right. Like we've seen that script and story before. So until I see like this complete lock in, we go on this run, then I feel like that's the commentary on the team right now. But it is the NFL, and it's a week-to-week league, and anything can happen. We've compared this Steelers team with Rodgers on the last leg of his career to the Buccaneers when they had Brady. And at one point in that season, they won the Super Bowl. I believe they were 7-5. We're 7-6. So who knows, man? Like, who knows? I think the week in and week out approach and having low expectations, maybe that's the way to go. And I've said that multiple times throughout the year of how just having no expectations going into these games and saying, hey, let's see what happens. That's the best way to go about it. But with a win like this, if they win again next week, I'm going to get my expectations high and feel like we're back. But that's exactly when the Steelers let you down. So who knows, man? Who knows what the future holds? But I like what we did on offense. Defense took a step in the right direction. But there's still inconsistencies. There's still some concerning things that popped up yesterday. Like if it wasn't for that beneficial call in our favor on the Isaiah Likely, I guess, non-touchdown, the story is it's a complete collapse by the Steelers after having majority of control of the game and, just letting the Ravens get back into it and take over at the end. There's a decent chance that would have happened if literally the refs just say, oh, that was a catch. Now, I guess technically, by letter of the law, whatever the rule is for a catch now these days, he didn't. It looked like a catch, but hey, we'll take it. And maybe sometimes that's the type of shit that sparks a team. It's one random call in the midst of a game in December, or, I guess in this case with this game, there was two or three kind of calls that went in the Steelers' favor. The field goal that they took away from us but enabled us to get a touchdown. It was the call that it was the interior D lineman on the Ravens where he hit into Christian Kuntz. Kind of got lucky on that one, and then we scored the touchdown. That's some extra points for us there. The Rodgers catch, I do believe they made the right call on that, but that could have went either way, and then the Isaiah Likely call at the end. So we had some calls go our favor. We let up at the end, but ultimately closed it out. And maybe that's just the thing. It's like, what do they say with basketball? You keep shooting, and once you see that one go in, maybe that's when things start to snowball for you and you get your momentum. Just get the layup. Just see one go through the hoop. And in this case, after this bad stretch of the last month of the Steelers playing football, maybe we just got the win. We played better. As a whole, we played better, both offensively and defensively. Wasn't pretty. Inconsistency showed up. We faded down the stretch of the game. But ultimately, we got the dub. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the layup. Maybe that's the ball through the basket this team needs to see for the final stretch of this season and hopefully going into the playoffs. We close out the AFC North and everything. And the other thing that can be true on all this, as much as, the Steelers definitely aren't a perfect team right now, neither is the majority of this NFL, man. Chiefs losing yesterday. They're missing the playoffs. Burrow and the Bengals, they're not going to be in the playoff. These are teams that are highly regarded because of the quarterbacks and some of their late playoff success of recent years. They're not going to be there anymore. So it's like Bills, with Josh Allen, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They're going to have some say in this thing. But Patriots, still unproven from my standpoint. I think Broncos, good defense. Bo Nix overrated. Danny Dimes and the Colts, man. Danny Dimes just went down with Achilles. I'm not saying he was necessarily going to be guaranteed of a good playoff player or anything like that with the Colts, but that's another team that's weakened. Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, I like what he's been doing for the most part. Liam Cohen has turned that organization around, but are you betting on them? Like there's a lot up in the air with the AFC right now. So it goes back to the thing we've said multiple times this season as well, is just like, I guess why not the Steelers? Why not? We got the win that we needed right now to catapult us over the Ravens, have the path look way more clear for us to make this playoff, just win the AFC North, schedule not that hard down the stretch. If we make it, and we got momentum as we make it into the playoffs, why not us? I guess why not us? So we'll see what happens. Let's get to the 3 stars of the game. On Big Deke News, we do the 3 stars after Steelers wins on a Victory Monday. And I'm going to cheat. I'm going to do for the third star, 3 players on defense, Highsmith, James Pierre, and also Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen's out there playing on one leg, but he was flying around out there making plays. Maybe there was a hiccup or two where you're like, you could have done better in stopping the run there or fitting a gap. But, hey, listen, I think for the most part, he was really positive for us out there. He was an impact player, and against his former team, he has been showing up. I think that is one thing we could say about Patrick Queen, except for that wild card game because he had the flu or something like that. James Pierre with the pick, I think he was pretty good in coverage as well. And then Alex Highsmith closing out the game with that sack. And I think for the most part, him and TJ Watt, our interior defensive line, was making things uncomfortable for Lamar Jackson. In the second half, Lamar did make some plays. We'll give some props to him there. But my second star, I think we just got to go on offense for the last 2 stars. Second star, DK Metcalf, 7 receptions, 148 yards. No touchdowns, but could have had one. And that's why DK would have had a case, I think, for the number 1 star if he would have. There was like 2 or 3 contested balls that, hit his hands. If he would have came down with a few more of those, he could have had close to 200 and a touchdown. But still, very impactful game from DK Metcalf here. Credit to the Steelers, Arthur Smith, Aaron Rodgers for actually including DK in the game plan. Right off the bat, the 50-yard pass down the field, even though it wasn't just one-on-one coverage, it was like in between double coverage. Rodgers threw an absolute laser, and DK came down with it. DK was making plays left and right throughout the whole game. Just dominant performance from DK Metcalf. Made it seem like he's worth every penny of that contract in this game. So hopefully he can keep it up as well. And shout out for the gutsy performance, like a Patrick Queen, like a Highsmith, for playing through whatever he was dealing with, that stomach pain he had to go to the hospital for that we mentioned earlier. And for the number 1 star of this past week.
Pickett, end zone, touchdown!
Oh, we're not doing around the league. Just, Steeler focused. Sorry there for a second. But that was not a bad pass from a former Steeler there. Number 1, I got to go with Aaron Rodgers. He looked like vintage Aaron Rodgers out there, bro. Like mobility in the pocket, lasers, dots all over the place. And like he wasn't getting much help in the run game at all. And, he was making stuff happen, even though I think our offensive line is much improved from the start of the season. We're at least an average offensive line to an above average offensive line. That's even with Broderick Jones being out. I like what Andrews Pete's been doing for us, and even Dylan Cook being out there, stepped up for the time that we needed him there. Rodgers was still making plays with his legs, though, getting outside the pocket, throwing some C's down the field. So if he can keep playing like this, that's elite quarterback play right there. And that's something that we talk about whenever you're trying to compete for a Super Bowl that you're going to need, most likely. You look at all the Super Bowl champions from the past 20, 25 years, they've gotten top-notch quarterback play. And if Rodgers continues this, then, again, why not us? If he can continue playing like this and our offense looks like what it did in the first 3 quarters, the defense can improve and at least get to average, we might have something here. We might. But Rodgers is the number 1 star. I mean, the offense went through him. DK with the great performance, but you're not getting that without some of the Aaron Rodgers dots and how he was operating at a high level yesterday. So that's that for my 3 stars of the game. I don't know if I have any additional commentary outside of what I gave you on today's Victory Monday. The Monday, I can't say Monday morning reaction. It's getting late in the day here, but we got the video out to you guys. So stay chilling. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and peace.